welcome to August, and as this month, if you've been following me on Instagram, I have a new obsession with hiking. I could not ignore the hike life. So August, we're all about mountains, sunrise, sunset, whichever you want to go. So this theme is all about taking me to the mountains. My obsession with getting outdoors at the moment, and also August is the month that I do conquer Snowdon, so that's another reason why I've gone for a mountain theme this month. So let's have a look at the template. I'll go through the pens as well. We'll put these in the comments, but I've gone for a couple of tones, kind of sunsetty, sunrisey, pinks and orange. I've done the mountain in green, but actually on the template it's a bluey grey, and I think I kind of prefer it, so I'm not sure. I might do today in grey and see what I feel. So I've got a grey and a green. We'll see which one I prefer. As always, my trusty hexagonal pen, and you'll be glad to know that I have in stock, I just haven't listed it yet, the monthly stamp sets. I just need to get some more ink pads and then I can pop those on the website. So let's have a look at the template. We're starting with our cover page. So we've got a mountain, and you can either decide whether it's sunrise or sunset. I'm not quite sure myself. I think it's maybe sunrise because it's kind of coming up. Mountains in the background and in shadow, and then we've got our August month to view, so we have that, and we also have the blank month if you wanted to cut that out or use it as a sticker and just stick it straight into your journal. So a week to view, again with these sunrise sunset vibes, a few little details of mountains dotted around there, but that's your week to view. And then your daily pages, just with a nod on each little day. Something different. Just a little sketch. I think these will be quite quick to put together as well, so you don't need to spend too much time. And then we've got a kind of skyline of trees for our habit tracker. And I love the idea of the mood tracker. Let me just zoom in a little bit for you. So you've got 31 spaces, and we're going to fill each of these with like a ray. I should have done it horizontally maybe. You can decide whether, I've done it vertical, but actually if you were going for like a sunsetty vibe, you could move those to being horizontal. All you need is 31 lines, one for each day of the month, and to just track how you're feeling. I always find the mood trackers really handy. Okay, so let's get my sketchbook. Oh, so many different days in here. This is my sketch version where we test out. This is my fake journal. So what do we need to know for this month? Well, pretty straightforward really. I feel like I say that every month and you probably freak out at me. I'm going to do them in grey today because I want to see how it differs to the green and how I like it. If you remember, if you did January with us, we kind of practiced doing some tree shapes, and I'm going to kind of utilize that for our trees in the distance. So what we're going to do is we're going to have like a central line, and then we're just going to almost, you can do really simple like ziggy-zag, like lines here. I'll zoom in a bit closer for you. Let's do this in a bit more detail. You know what, already I'm kind of liking it in grey. So you can do this, which will give you the basic shape, and you can also do some dots. I'm using the brush end of our Tombow pens, and obviously using the grey. So you can fill in if you want to make it a little bit more detailed, but a lot of these are going to be really, really small in the background, so they don't need a lot of detail. But that kind of, you know, gives you the idea of a tree. Ta-da! Easy, right? Easy, you got this. You could do this. I mean, you can even do slightly more kind of like staggered-y trees where it's a bit kind of naked on one side and not so naked on the other, and then maybe some comes. I feel a bit Bob Rossy. I've said this before, haven't I? Oh my god, I used to love Bob Ross. If you don't know who Bob Ross is, go Google Bob Ross. So as mentioned last month, we are now on YouTube, whereas all of the Patreon will be the updated. So you guys are seeing this for August 2023. This won't be on YouTube until August 2024 because YouTube is a year behind. But yeah, there we go. We're now on YouTube and my voice is there for everybody to hear, which is slightly concerning me, but you got to get over yourself. That's why I just got to keep saying to myself. Okay, so there's a bit more of an open tree shape. So you can just do a real quick squiggle if you want. It really doesn't have to do much. Or you can kind of go in and do a bit more detail. That is totally up to you. However long you've got, however long you want to spend on it. Those are your tree shapes. So mountain wise, just a shape of a mountain using the brush side of the pen, so you can kind of start with like thinner lines, and as you put more pressure on, that's gonna make the line thicker, and lift your hand off and it's going to give you a lighter line. So that's all we're going to do, is work with different pressures and create different wobbly shapes. I like them being wobbly myself. You can be however you want, and you could add a bit more shadow in here, so that gives you some ideas of mountains. Obviously in our mountain ranges we're going to have a tree line in the front on some, and there's some other mountains which are using kind of like a dotted method of shading. So for those, I'm actually using the finer detail pen. I'm going to zoom in. So you just need to have a little think. Say the sunlight is coming from this side, so the right side. So your left is going to be in shadow. So say that's the tip of the mountain, the summit as it will. This side is going to be shaded. So we're just using tiny dots to create shade. If you want to go in heavier, if you want it to be quicker, you might be quicker with the brush pen side, but you're not going to get as fine a line, finer dot. So you can kind of go between the two, but the idea is you just want to kind of shade it with mini dots. And you know, you might have, you know, some areas that are shaded within the mountain. But again, if the sunlight's coming from this side, then this will be in the shade. And that's all we're kind of doing. You know, if you wanted, you don't have to use the dot method. You could totally shade it in if you wanted. You could use a lighter colour. You could use like a crosshatch method if you wanted to do that. If you do you. But for the purpose of following my template, I've used a dotted shading technique. Okay, and then again, you could do that on your final mountain here. I mean, and also to be fair, this is going to be shaded as well, but you can work that out as you go along. You get the gist. Okay, let's zoom out. Our mountains and our trees. So the only other thing to say is I've been using kind of like an idea of a background sunset or sunrise, whichever we were deciding. I can't remember what we decided. But what I didn't want to do is kind of go into the mountains. I wanted to leave those in like a white base. So I've just been using the Tombow pens and kind of following the grid line of the dotted paper and using the colour to fill in, leaving a white line between my drawing and my artworks. So say we've done that, I'm going to go in, leave a little gap between each line, and again using, let me zoom in a minute for you, using the grid lines as a reference, I'm just filling that in and stopping and leaving a bit of a white line between everything. Even if I was going around the trees, I was leaving a white line. And that's how I've done it. And that's pretty much all we need to know. So let's get started with the template. So let's get a nice clean page and we'll get our template ready. So as always, you can either just freestyle it using the techniques that we've just talked about, or you can trace this over into your journal. I am going to do that. If you remember our little hack, it's to put some rubbings on one side. So I tend to, especially with this pencil, our hexagon pencils have a 0.7 2B lead in, which is nice and soft and great for shading. So it works really well on this. So all you would do is scribble on the back where you want to transfer. So as long as you've got the whole image covered, you are good. And then turn it over and just draw away. So just basically what I'm going to do is just put a line where I want a tree. I'm not going to go and bother filling out all of the tree lines. I just want a little idea. It's a guide more than anything, a guide of where you want things to be. And then I'm just going to do a guide on where the mountains are going. Let's squiggle the sun in. If you want, you can work out where you want those bits. But that is really all it is. And also that's why I know you can do this. What you're left with is a really faint, and today, wow, that is very faint. I don't even think you can see it. But a really faint guideline of where we're gonna start. Okay, so I'll zoom in a little bit. So starting with our mountain range, and as I said, I'm gonna use the grey because I think I prefer it. And then I'll show you it up against the green that I did in my own journal and see what you think and see which one you'd prefer, if you'd prefer to go. Well, you can do anything. It's almost quite bluey on the template, actually, like a bluey grey. But anything that kind of gives you a shadowed mountain effect is going to work. So we're just doing our mountain range, similar technique, just lifting the pen up, using the brush tip to make kind of thinner and thicker lines, and it's always a little bit thicker at the top. That's just given the idea of almost like snow-covered mountain range, I think, anyway. And then I'm going to add in the sun. So you've got your circle there. Doesn't have to be exact. Just give the sun kind of shape. I mean, you could do the sun in the orange colour if you wanted. Don't have to do it shadowed. And then we're going to start filling in our tree line all the way along. So what I might do is might even just kind of do a bit of a line like that, because that's where I want to follow. And then I am probably going to speed up the camera for this because you don't need to see it all. You know what we're doing, but we're doing these kind of zigzaggy forest trees. Do you need me to zoom in for them? Just exactly how I showed you in the tutorial. A thin line and then just filling the details out until we get to the bottom. So I'll speed up the camera as we do this and I'll join you on the other side. Okay, so there is the tree line in place. So just kind of like maybe go over some of them just a little bit deeper, so it gives a bit of shadow and light. So some are a bit darker just to give a bit of depth to the tree line. But yeah, I'm happy with that. So the next step is to go in and do our like shading on our mountain side. So as I said with the just with the dots, I'm actually going to create a little bit of a heavier line there, just because that's just where I want the shading to be. And then just fill that in with little mini dots, a little bit heavier in some places, just to give it a bit more shadow. Just filling it in really, and again I'll speed up this part and I'll see you on the other side. So I'm kind of happy with the mountains and the tree lines there. Actually, I might just fill in a bit more here and just make it a bit deeper. I feel like it just needs to be a little bit heavier here. Almost like just to make those trees a bit bigger. And I might just add a darker grey. I might just give it a bit of depth in a minute, but we'll see how that goes. Just add a bit more in here. And maybe add a bit more into these trees. Okay, so next thing is to do our skyline. So I'm going to start with the pink, because this is going to be the lowest, almost like the lowest here. So I'm using the guidelines of the bullet journal dots, but I'm not going, if you can see that, I'm just outlining. Let's zoom in on that. So just outlining, and then I'm going to fill this section in. So this is my pink line, and that's just going to follow through and come out the other side. And again, just outlining and leaving a small white gap between. Oh, that's not on the page. There we go. That's what I was doing. Sorry, went a bit off camera there. And then I'm using my other colour, leaving a little space. Oh God, the sun's finally trying to come out. It's trying. It's been so grey today. You would not think that it is July. And then you can take this one as far as you want. I'm going to do quite a big section. I think I'm going to go as far as this dot here, dotted line, and then just outline and then fill. So this is our skyline, and then follow that line through, so that would go all the way over there, and I'm just leaving a small white mark between the mountains and my lines. There we go with that colour. And then just a lighter colour for the top end of our skyline. That would be sunrise, wouldn't it? Because it's not yet lit up the rest of the sky. Okay. And there we go. This is our skyline. So once we've added in the colour, the next step is going to be doing our titling. So let's zoom out and have a look where we're at. There we go, really happy with that. And I do prefer it in grey personally, but I'll show you it next to the green when we're finished. Right, so I need to find my larger Tombow pen for the black. Bear with me and I'll be back. Okay, great, so I've just got my black Tombow. I like to use the fine tip edge, and you can trace my writing through if you wish, or you could do your own, or you could cut and stick from the template if that's what you want to do. But the main thing is just to take it slow and steady when you're writing it out, and I do think the black just looks really great on the Tombow. And then I use my trusty monthly stamp. You can use the grid to just fit the numbers in however you wish. I use the monthly stamp set. It will be back in the shop shortly. Keep an eye on it, I will let you know. But for now, I'm just going to pop that. I actually feel that August could be a little bit more central to the page, but you know, let's let go of perfection. Let's not worry about it. It is going to annoy me slightly. So here we go. And then that would just copy through in little details across the rest of the month. So let me show you it next to the green. Let me move these out of the way because I think that, no. I was going to try and lighten up the area a little bit. It's just quite shady today. So there is it in grey, and this is the artwork in green. Well, it's not too dissimilar. Also, what I've just realised is I've got one of the older books here with the yellower page, whereas the new journals are more white. But as you can see, there's not a lot of differences there. No, okay. But I do like the grey and I do like the green. You decide. I'll put both Tombow references in the comments. But that is our journal theme for this month. I hope you enjoy it. Join me on stories as we talk more about our journal prompts for the month. As normal, there's a chat daily, Monday to Friday, of all of the journal insights into my themes and prompts for the day. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Please tag me in anything you do. You know I love to see your designs and see where our mountain hike inspirational month goes. And I will share all of my photographs from my Snowdon climb, which is booked in for the 19th of August. So I should circle that one down here. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great month and I'll see you soon.